All right, everyone. So here I am again with this topic. This topic is a conversation that needs to be had, right? And if you look at this sheet, it's showing you that 54% of the African American male population between 15 to 49 do not have kids. But 39% of the black woman population between 15 and 49 do not have children. This is a call to action, right? So anybody watching this video should know this isn't an attack on anyone. This isn't a jab at anyone. This is just bringing the conversation to the middle. This is about bringing the balance to the clarity because that's the one thing the black community does not have. And this is one thing the black community absolutely needs. So without further more, this is the thing. If you are seeing this chart, this is something that came out around this time last year, basically confirming the statement that 54% of black men are childless. Now, I'm not going to say single because you could be in a relationship and not have children. So I don't think it's single and childless, but I definitely believe the childless part. And it's something we need to be talking about on the strength that if 54% of black men don't have kids, then where the hell are all these kids coming from? Because if I remember correctly, I remember reading somewhere that 59% of black women with children have kids by more than one man, and 61% of black women are mothers, with a 70 to 80% out of wedlock birth rate. Who's making all the children? It's got to be somebody. And the answer is definitely some dudes outside of our race. So definitely some white dudes, definitely some Hispanic dudes, probably even some Asian dudes out there making these kids with black women and not marrying them. Which makes me raise the question of how did we get to this point where we are the most kids out of wedlock, the most single mothers, the most with multiple baby dads, but yet we are the least married. It drives me crazy knowing that black kids are some of the only kids in this country not made out of love. They are made out of lust. They are made out of, oh, it was just a good 15 minutes of sex. Didn't think I would get a kid. Lack of dick discipline, lack of legs being closed, lack of basic common sense, and even using protection and being sexually responsible. And now there's a lot of black kids walking around here with no sense of purpose because it seemed like the parents just had them because, oops, my bad. It's sad, man. I'm looking at a lot of these kids walking around here and they just don't seem to know who they are or even want to know who they are. Because a good amount of these kids are missing a father. And for those dudes who are making those kids and not being in those kids' lives, y'all need to be thrown under the prison. Or be a man and take care of your children. Now, I do got smoke for the women on this conversation too, because why were you picking these dudes to have kids with in the first place? And yes, you knew he was a jackass before you had the kid with him, because if you didn't know he was a jackass, then it still doesn't make sense to make the kid without guarantee. But more times than not, say 8, maybe 9 out of 10 times, y'all know he's a jackass. But the D was good and I was demonetized and blah, 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 whatever. But I just want to say that I think black women really need to start valuing your bodies more, period. Because it seems like black women just don't value yourselves. And I don't know why you wouldn't value yourselves, but it seems like this is what needs to happen. Y'all need to value yourselves. And for the comments that are going to say, oh, we don't have our fathers, there are black women who openly admitted their dad told them something and they didn't listen to their father. And let's be honest, with 54% of black men not having kids, a good amount of these kids are sharing dads with about 5 or 6 other kids. So if they don't have their father in their life, that's something that they need to talk to their mother about. They need to find a way to get in touch with their father and just connect with their other siblings. Sometimes the moms keep the kids from connecting, but that's probably the best thing for the kid. It's like a zeitgeist of behavior. We keep doing the same thing over and over again. There's like insanity involved. It's like since the 80s, our single motherhood rates jumped to 60% in the 80s, and we were the most married in the 60s with black kids in homes with black parents. And along came feminism, government assistance, Roe v. Wade, and a bunch of other things that separated us from each other. And then you fast forward to the 80s, our single motherhood rate is through the roof. And then you fast forward to 2024, and it hasn't really changed. We got to fix this problem. And no, black men just being stepdads won't fix the problem because I don't really condone that mess. Like, I condone a dude if he chooses to do it, but I will never tell men, be a stepdad. I'm never going to do that. Black men have been doing that way too much and it hasn't gotten us anywhere. It's just given the incentive that we can just keep going out here and making kids with whoever and we'll just fix the family when we're old. No, we need to start getting these people together early and getting these kids in two-parent homes with mature adults. The blame has been on black men for too long. With these numbers being out here, this should be enough proof to show, hey, look, most black men don't have children. And if I've heard somewhere, reading somewhere, that the blood test results came back 30%, that most dads aren't even their kid's father. So if we took all the black blood test results and put them into the machine to see what really was going on, it'd probably be more like 57% of black men don't have kids because some of these women are paternity frauding. But these numbers should show that there is no real way that the fatherlessness in the black community completely falls on the kids. I know way too many women who are in a line of 5 to 9 baby moms with a single dude. I know a girl who is, I believe, the fifth or sixth baby mom, and her baby dad is a bum, and he got 9 baby moms. But again, he got 9 baby moms. Look at Nick Cannon's situation. Look at Future situation. My brother and sister dad got 10 kids. My dad got 5 kids. I know a friend of mine whose dad got 16 kids. Pretty sure there's a dude down south. I think it's Atlanta. He got 34 kids. NBA YoungBoy has 10. There's another rapper dude. I think he got 20. Insane. So the fatherlessness falls on all black men. When I just named what 10 to 15 men, and I definitely named over 100 kids to like 15 dudes. Then you got to think in the fact that there's like what 6 men in Memphis, and together those 6 men have like 87 kids. So I just might have counted like 200 plus kids to like 20 dudes. It's a serious topic because, for the most part, the black men that I know personally, which is a lot, who have children, are in their children's lives. I don't associate myself with people who don't take care of their children. So if there are black men out there that don't take care of their kids and they got people that hang with them, 9 out of 10, those dudes don't take care of their kids either. And let's be honest, the guys with a bunch of kids are the ones getting all the sex. So who's sleeping with these men and making kids with the men who already have kids they don't take care of? Not of the men. But this stems from the problem that I realize the black community has is we have a very, very toxic relationships with sexual intercourse. Thus being, we have some of the most hypersexual teenagers in the country. No other race of kids are sexually active like teenage black kids are. I knew a girl one time who she was like interning for a school here in Philly. I think it was like Germantown somewhere, and the kids were black. And she was like, "Yo, when I came back." from the internship. She told me, and she was like, "Yo, the kids were like having sex in the classrooms. Seventh graders, 12, just having sex in the classrooms." I'm like, well, what the hell? When I was in seventh grade, I wasn't trying to bomb nobody. I was, like I said in some videos, reading Naruto and anime and video games and all that sort of stuff. I wasn't worried about having no sex at 12. We have a serious problem that we need to fix. And one of the main things we need to fix is the sexual unhealthy relationships we have with the topic in this community. I remember being a kid, say ripe old age of like 10 or 11. And I remember the older men in the black community at the time, this was like the those men who are greatly affected from the first ramifications and stuff, was basically like you got to have as much sex as you can while you can before you settle down, because if you don't do that you're going to regret it. So have as much sex as you can and then settle down afterwards. And I'm pretty sure a good amount of black men can tell this story too. Then you had to go into the fact that the moms was basically, W wording their daughters by telling them not to get married young, enjoy your life till your 40s, then find somebody to marry you, which created high tension for women to have kids with people and then find a husband at the end of the road. Now, what I do like about this generation of black men specifically, they're like, I'm not doing that crap. I'm not taking care of your kids that you made along the road. I'm not waiting for you to want to spend the block to a solid brother. I'm not doing none of that. I'm going my own direction. So who's making all these kids? Because if it's 54% of black women don't have kids, but 61% of black women do, where are these kids coming from and who's making them? It's a small number. I just broke down why. But somehow, when it comes to fatherless kids in the black community, and men being not in home, they always try to equate it like it's a 1v1 situation. It is no way impossible. It's a 1v1 situation when 54% of black men don't have kids, and 80% out of wedlock birth rate, and 61% of black women have kids, and 39% of black women do not have children. That's like a 15% difference between black men and black men who are childless. So I'm guessing that missing 15% are the ones making all the children, correct? That would be my guess. But Media Man was the one, who kind of pushed this narrative forward. Kevin Samuel started the conversation with those statistics by going, hey, 54% of black men are single and childless. Like I said, I don't think the 54% are single, but I do believe they're childless. And then Media Man came out, he pushed the narrative. He's been perpetuating the narrative. Sarge Willie Pete religiously mentions these things. So we just have to keep this topic going. We have to keep these numbers out there, let these numbers be known, let these numbers be seen so people can understand what's really going on in the black community. It's time to repair the black male ethnic image, and this is the best way to do it by just being decor, having decorum, talking about the topic, defending ourselves. For the love of God, we've earned it. We haven't been able to defend ourselves since the 80s. The women have had the mic for too long. The talk show hosts, they got to make big old raves about it. But now the truth is here. Here are the numbers. Here is the proof. And you can go on blackstatistics.com, blackdemographics.com. That's where I got these numbers from. By black people, for black people. They there. The CDC around the same time last year dropped the same numbers. So this is the time now for the black community to be honest about the problems going on with the fatherlessness in the black community, who the women choose to have kids with, and why there are a bunch of solid men out here who don't have kids yet. It's time, black men. It's time for this is your time. We've done some great things. We actually are in our kids' lives now more than ever. We're doing well economically. We could be doing better. We could always be doing better, but we're moving in that direction. 50, believe 50% of black owned businesses, maybe a little bit more, like 54% or 55% of black owned businesses are owned by black men solely. Beautiful. Down in Philly, we got things like the No Mo Foundation, trying to touch the black teens and get our hands on the youth and get them in a better position. We were working. We're working. We got this thing called Dads on Duty in another part of the country where the dads are just being on campus. That's run by black men. You don't see that on the news. You don't see the No Mo Foundation on the news. So yeah, black men pat themselves on the back. We're doing it. We're trying. We're working. We're getting it together. But it still takes a collectivity of all of us to make this change. So if Media Man's pushing the numbers, Sarge Willie P's pushing the numbers, Kevin Samuels is pushing the numbers, I'm gonna push the numbers too, because the only way to get the topic back to clarity is to push these numbers on the internet. The internet has been black men's best friend, which will be a video at some point in time. Just be on the lookout for the internet has been black men's best friend these last couple years. But yeah, 54% of black men don't have kids. Here are the numbers. Black men, you're doing great. Keep doing great. Let me know how y'all feel down below in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe for more. I'll see y'all on the next one.